In a world of live service games, microtransactions and yearly sequels, there are still plenty of fun single-player experiences to be had. That doesn't mean, though, that they're all exempt from issues. Let's take a look at some of the miserable things that have happened to certain titles. Before we begin, please consider subscribing and enabling all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's get started. Microtransactions in Assassin's Creed Unity. Before the in-game store in Assassin's Creed games became what it is today, read selling more armor sets that are actually acquirable in-game, it was obnoxious. Assassin's Creed Unity was perhaps the most egregious example, since you could purchase $100 worth of premium currency, but there weren't even that many items to spend it on. This only served to further fuel anger towards the game's broken launch. Ubisoft has made the store less obtrusive in subsequent games, but also stuffed it with items, because the buck does not indeed stop at $60. XP grinding in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. XP boosters are nothing new, whether you're looking at MMOs or single-player titles with equipment that boosts experience gain. Naturally, Assassin's Creed Odyssey took to selling XP boosters from launch. The problem? Without them, the leveling up could be infuriating, and it didn't help that a lot of the side content was the same copy-pasted tasks seemingly built for grinding. It also didn't help when Ubisoft added a quest creator to the game, and subsequently nerfed easy experience gains after exploits were discovered. Progression loss in Watch Dogs Legion. For what it's worth, Watch Dogs Legion's microtransactions aren't all that bad, for now at least. Despite selling costumes and recruits, it is possible to acquire a multitude of both by simply playing the game. No excess grinding required either. Unfortunately, there have been some major issues with progression being wiped. Though it launched on October 29, 2020 and received multiple patches on PC, the bug would persist for Xbox Series X and S players till December. Recent updates seem to have fixed the same, but going multiple weeks with the risk of losing progress each time, absolutely miserable. Batman Arkham Knight's terrible PC port. When Batman Arkham Knight launched, its Xbox One and PS4 versions were praised for their stunning detail and performance. The PC version wasn't as fortunate. A 30 FPS cap, which could drop to 10 frames per second by simply gliding, along with numerous stutters, low-res textures and glitches, were only some of the issues faced. It got so bad that eventually Warner Bros. Suspended sales of the PC version in June 2015 and even offered refunds. After being re-released in October, performance was improved, but various issues still remained. Resident Evil 3 2020 removes content. The process of developing a remake is tough. Do you stay true to the original, branch out into new content while maintaining the overall framework, or try to strike a balance? Resident Evil 3 Nemesis wasn't a super meaty game as is, but the 2020 remake decided to skim things further. Along with paring down several areas, it outright removed sequences like the clock tower sequences. Worst of all, Mercenaries was completely removed, and in its place was a 4v1 mode called Resistance, which shockingly wasn't great. Cyberpunk 2077's console versions. Enough has been written about Cyberpunk 2077's missing features, and it's true that many have enjoyed whatever content there is, bugs and all. The same can't be said though for console players who were greeted with a buggy mess that ran poorly with abysmal texture streaming and terrible fidelity. You could try mitigating this on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, but both versions would suffer numerous crashes. The most recent update helped improve things, but the Xbox One and PS4 versions are still far from what CD Projekt Red promoted. Server issues with Diablo 3. Blizzard made a lot of bad decisions when it came to Diablo 3. The auction house, the paucity of loot, the initial higher difficulties which left more punishing than challenging, etc. Its always online requirement was perhaps the worst. Even when it prepped for launch beforehand, the development team severely underestimated the number of players, resulting in overloaded servers. This meant that many couldn't even play the single-player game they just bought, instead being greeted by Error 37 again and again. Even as server performance improved, Blizzard would have to dedicate nearly 2 years to fixing the mess with Reaper of Souls. Middle-earth Shadow of War's loot boxes. When Monolith first revealed Middle-earth Shadow of War, showcasing how the Nemesis system had blossomed into commanding full-scale orc armies against strongholds, it felt like a dream come true. Of course, then it confirmed loot boxes, which could contain better items and orc recruits. It probably wouldn't affect you for the campaign, but in the endgame Shadow Wars, which must be completed for the true ending, you'd need to grind a lot for top-tier orcs. Or you could spend real money to get guaranteed legendaries via RNG. It's no wonder that Monolith eventually removed this, especially with mounting backlash against loot boxes. Bloodborne and frame pacing issues. Bloodborne is a great game, to the extent that it's helped many forget one of its most annoying issues, the frame pacing. While the game is meant to run at 30 FPS, it would often drop down to 24 FPS. As Digital Foundry pointed out back in the day, it was the ordering of frames, with 2 unique frames being followed by 2 duplicates, and erratic frame time updates that resulted in stuttering. The long load times were fixed near launch, but From Software still hasn't fixed the frame pacing issues all these years later. Lack of next-gen updates. Not seeing certain games optimized for Xbox Series X and PS5 is always a bummer. These are more powerful consoles, yet the improvements you want are at the whim of various publishers and developers. Still, some of these choices make no sense. No upgrades for Bloodborne or Drive Club to run at 4K and 60 FPS. No Bloodborne at 60 FPS, even at 1080p. Halo 5 Guardians not getting a 120 FPS option, despite Halo the Master Chief Collection receiving it. What is up with that? Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War crashing consoles. Rumors pegged Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War as having a tumultuous development cycle, but it still managed to launch with a campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Unfortunately, despite touting the Xbox Series X and S and PS5 features, it had quite a number of issues all around, from corrupted graphics to crashing on Microsoft's console. The real kicker is that these continue to be known issues and are yet to be fixed. But you'd better believe that those microtransactions are making it in without delay. Ys 8's horrible localization. Localization can always be a dicey affair. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, however, was an utter catastrophe. Aside from several lines being horribly translated, various names and properties seem to be glossed over. Archozoic Chasm was originally called Archozoic Big Hole, in addition to typos and other grammatical errors. This led to an apology from NISA CEO and President Akira Yamashita, along with bringing in a new translator and editor to fix the script. By the time the PC version launched, reactions to its performance were mixed, but at least the localization was finally better. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain's Mission 51. You could say a lot about Hideo Kojima's falling out with Konami and how it affected Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Pretty much everyone can agree that Mission 51 not serving as the true ending is the worst though. Originally serving as bonus content in the Collector's Edition, it contains critical story information for Venom Snake, Liquid Snake, and Psycho Mantis. Even more baffling is that it's not even playable. Konami would later clarify that this was additional story content that was cancelled before development finished, while also stating that it's definitely not the ending. Lack of previous to current gen upgrades. Not every developer can offer free upgrades for every previous gen title that's playable on the Xbox Series X and S and PS5. But it's still annoying to have to purchase Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition on PS5 just to get Spider-Man Remastered. There's no free or paid upgrade for owners of Spider-Man on PS4. You have to straight up spend $70 more to get it, because it's not sold separately either. Don't even get us started on Control Ultimate Edition, which didn't even offer a free upgrade to those who purchased the game and its 2 separate DLCs, except when it accidentally did at one point. Want to play the game on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S? Better buy it all over again. Purchased it for PS4 in anticipation for the PS5 version? Get it for free on PlayStation Plus for February 2021. You just can't win. No single-player DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5. Fans of Grand Theft Auto Online have had plenty of updates over the years, from heists to substantial new activities, all for free. Granted, the grinding for some of the best items incentivizes spending real money on shark cards, but we digress. Those who enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 5's single-player campaign and want more, however, have received nothing, aside from some minor additions when the game released for PS4, Xbox One and PC. No new story content, no new activities, nothing. And it doesn't look like it'll be changing with its release on Xbox Series X and S and PS5 this year. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.